Hello, BookTube. I've got some mail for you today, just a few packages in a box that I thought we'd go through together. It's an overcast day and it's getting worse, thicker by the minute because the storm is coming. Uh, all of the forecasters now are saying that Boston is going to get between 6 and 8 inches of snow, starting in the small hours of the morning tonight and going all day tomorrow until sunset. Uh, I don't see that myself in the data. When I look at the data and I don't listen to the people, I see a storm that's mostly going to miss Boston to the south. But I'm expecting to be wrong about that, so I stocked up a little. I had my surly houseboy bring in some supplies in case I don't feel like going out for a week. Uh, but the mail still comes, and I thought we'd go through this mail together, mainly because I honestly don't know what else to do. The alternative for me, and I imagine for quite a few of you, would just be hopelessly refreshing your news feeds every single minute. And although it's important to stay well informed, I imagine that we can both use a break from the unfolding story in Ukraine. I certainly can. That's why I'm talking to you, because like I always say on this channel, I get more than I give on this channel, and it's on days like today that I just want to talk to you a little and maybe take my mind off the news for a bit before I go right back into it. I mean, despite how many videos I make a day, the huge chunk of the day, we are not talking to each other. I'm not bouncing ideas off you. I'm not leaning on you for moral support. Those hours I will spend just working. And on days like today, I can say, unfortunately, I am not working, outside with my hands. I'm working on a laptop, on a computer terminal, which means that I'm never more than one finger click away from some horrifying new image, some horrifying new revelation. I imagine I will fall prey to that. I mean, this is a major, major event in our lives that's unfolding right now. So I imagine I'll update myself more than I need to. As I mentioned in a video earlier today, up-to-date knowledge doesn't do any one of us any good. And I mean, it's worthwhile to have, but it shreds the walls of your muscles and of your arteries, and all for nothing. You're not involved directly. You can't be involved directly. See, I'm going down the rabbit hole already. I thought I would just go make some normal videos just to get away from it for a bit. So we'll go through the mail, and I've got a couple of other videos I want to make as well. And the first piece of mail is a periodical. It is GQ. Apparently, my subscription to Vanity Fair ran out just before I got the issue with the infamous Lord of the Rings of Power photos in it. But that doesn't matter. I've seen them plenty, so it doesn't really matter to me. I already know what that article was. This is obviously featuring a different movie blockbuster. That scowling, contemptuous, freakish-looking creature on the cover is Robert Pattinson, who all of you will know as the sparkly vampire in the Twilight movies. And he is the new Batman. He is in the new Batman movie that I'm sure that DC Paramount is hoping will launch a tentpole franchise. I'm sure that they're hoping this will be a Batman who really catches on, and we'll have another Christopher Nolan money-making machine on our hands. Robert Pattinson is a weird choice to play Batman, and maybe that was the whole point. Maybe that was the point of this casting. And because he's a weird choice, a whole lot of PR like this profile has to come out in the next few months. A whole lot of it does, and I imagine a whole lot of it will. Trying to normalize this weirdo. I mean, there's no other way around it. He's been in acting and theater for his whole life, and he's been a mega superstar for the last 15 years. He's 30 now, or something like that, 35. So 15 years or so that his smallest whim has had a long line of people lined up to indulge it. He's a 5-pack a day tobacco addict. He's totally unathletic. Believe me, when you see the one shot of his torso in the Batman teaser trailer, you are looking at the miracles that can be done with Hollywood lighting on an anorexic body. And you're not looking at anything else. You're certainly not looking at hours in the gym. He has people who are trying to promote products that he's in have been routinely saying for 15 years that he reads all the time. But I read this profile, and he comes off as rather noticeably stupid in the whole course of the thing. And the profile itself is deceptive. The writer of the profile, forget who writes the profile, but they, not needless to say, who is Robert Pattinson is absolutely not answered nor even essayed in the profile. But the writer of the profile goes on, mentions at 6 or 7 different points how inhospitable the weather is, how it's gray and cold, how the writer of the profile and the star are wandering around looking for places that are out of the way, places where they won't attract attention. No mention is ever made of the reason why they're doing any of that. No mention is ever made of the fact that this young man can't stop smoking when he's awake. He can't stop doing it. The most that he's ever been able to do is when a director on a movie set says, you have to stop for the next 15 seconds. If you don't, you're fired. You have to stop long enough to do this scene. Other than that, in the entire course of the interview, no matter how many hours it took, he was smoking nonstop the whole time, and there's no mention made of it whatsoever. And also, it was weird. I don't know if you can tell from this cover. All of the photos for this photo shoot are out of focus. All of them are. And at first I thought, wow, that's really bad. That is something that for that same offense, multiple people would have been fired just 20 years ago. And then I had a sinking feeling. I think I know. I'm not going to research it. It's not worth the bother. But I have a feeling they're out of focus on purpose. What are the odds that 10 out of focus photos could get through whatever quality control measures are at this magazine, much less, what are the chances? I don't think there's any chance. I think it was intentional, and therefore I have to wonder if Twitter's involved. If the photographer's saying, well, I'm going for that look. I want that. I actually want that. And if you don't like it, you're a bigot of some kind towards whatever I am. I don't know. I always suspect that now when something, that has just an obvious visual reality is being foisted as something else. I always now wonder, okay, is Twitter involved in this? Fortunately, I won't give it much attention. The other periodical I gave a lot more attention. That is the TLS, the London Times Literary Supplement, the greatest literary review in the world. That to read every Robert Pattinson profile that's ever been done, he probably subscribes to this. You can't even say TLS, but I'm sure that I'd be told that he's the foremost intellect on any set. And one of the things that was noteworthy about this was one particular letter. The letters page that I like to read you from an irate writer in Bristol, who writes, it isn't clear to me why you think it interesting to publish one crass comment after another by T.E. Lawrence on Ulysses. It's like watching a pigeon poop on a statue, amusing at first, but after a while the novelty palls, except, I suppose, for other pigeons. And I wanted to say to the writer of the letter, no, the novelty also, it doesn't pall for the pigeons, but it also doesn't pall for the people who think that the statue is an eyesore. They can take the pooping until the cows come home. But anyway, we'll go to the books now. We've got 2 paper packages and a box. So let's see what we have here. First one is a finished copy of some kind. Oh, very good. Okay, excellent. This is a finished copy of Barry Strauss's new book. Those of you who know this author from The Death of Caesar, or he's a popular classical historian. He's very good. This is The War That Made the Roman Empire. The finished copy of his book on the Battle of Actium. So for those of you, this is a March release, I believe. Yeah, the end of March. So for those of you who missed it the first time, let's see here. After the assassination of Julius Caesar, the fate of the Roman Empire seemed to hang between 2 men. On one side was the battle-proven Mark Antony, Julius Caesar's former lieutenant and the presumed next leader of the empire, working together with Cleopatra, the Queen of Egypt, romantic partner of both Caesar and Antony, and the richest and most powerful woman in the world. On the other side was Octavian, the adopted son of Caesar, a young and inexperienced military and political player. Both men made the case that they knew the true way forward for Rome to maintain its glory, and both wanted to expand Rome's territory eastward toward the riches of Egypt and the Middle East. On the face of it, Mark Antony was in a much more powerful position. But Octavian and his general Agrippa won the Battle of Actium, beginning the march toward Alexandria that ultimately resulted in the deaths of Antony and Cleopatra. Octavian became Caesar Augustus, Rome's first emperor, ending the Roman Republic forever. And this is the story. It's not that long. I've read histories of Actium that were 10 times this long, but it's very good, as Barry Strauss always is. And now that I think about it, and now that I have resumed my post office habit. Oh, it's the bean. You want to see the bean, don't you? There we go. I have, as you know, if you watched my mail hauls, I have an advanced copy of this. I have an ARC. Soft cover doesn't have the maps or the artwork at all. If you're interested, if one of you is a fan of classical history and you're interested in that ARC, feel free to let me know, because I don't need both. I have the finished copy, and I commissioned a review of it for Big Canoe News in northern Georgia. Small but very good news book section where I am the editor. So the finished copy will go out there, but I have the advanced copy that I don't need. So let's see this next one. This next one feels like another finished copy. That would be great. Finished copies are good for the end of February. Finished copies for March are very good. Oh, okay, great. Oh, I really need to get to this. All right. Well, that's what I use these mail hauls for, right? This is a kick in the behind that I have been neglecting this book, and I really need to stop doing that. Okay. I need to get to this right away. So we've already seen this, but we'll show it again because it's been a while. Some of you may not have seen it. We won't block the bean this time. She's feeling a little bit. She's feeling a little bit suppressed because she can tell that some sort of weather is on the way, and she doesn't really like inclement weather. It was a beautiful day yesterday. 70 degrees, partially sunny, no wind, lots and lots of mud, but beautiful. And we took a great advantage of it, but she can feel the change in the air here. But since her face isn't visible anymore, I can hold this up on the other side. This is by Adele Myers, and this is The Tobacco Wives. And this is, do I remember correctly that this was a debut? Well, we'll find out together. North Carolina, 1946. One woman and a discovery that could rewrite history. Maddie Sykes is a burgeoning seamstress who's just arrived in Brightleaf, North Carolina, the tobacco capital of the South, where her aunt has a thriving sewing business. After years of war rations and shortages, Brightleaf is a prosperous wonderland in full Technicolor bloom, and Maddie is dazzled by the bustle of the crisply uniformed female factory workers, the palatial homes, and most of all, her aunt's glossiest clientele, the wives of the powerful tobacco executives. But she soon learns that Brightleaf isn't quite the carefree paradise that it seems. A trail of misfortune follows many of the women, and although Maddie is quick to believe that this is a coincidence, she inadvertently uncovers evidence that suggests otherwise. Maddie wants to report what she knows, but in a town where everyone depends on big tobacco to survive, she doesn't know who she can trust, and fears that exposing the truth may destroy the lives of the proud, strong women with whom she has forged strong bonds. And I think we know what that tragedy is, right? I think what this novel shows is Maddie gradually discovering just how horrible tobacco itself is. So you picture it sort of as a whistleblower type thing. But again, I'm guessing because I don't know. I've had the advanced copy of this and I haven't gotten to it. And it's a March release, so I need to get on it right away. I will. Actually, I dropped the sell sheet prematurely. Yeah, March the 1st. This is March the 1st. This is coming right up. That's not good. So I will prioritize this, and I may give The War That Made Roman Empire another read as well. And then we go on to the box, and then we'll finish up. Let's see what this is. With any luck, it'll be 3 finished copies for 3 finished copies. That would be wonderful. Got an invoice. Don't need an invoice, do we? Oh no, it's not a finished copy. It's a paperback of some kind. All right. Well, I'll take it definitely. Oh, great! Someone page Olive. This is right in her wheelhouse, and this comes out in August, so she has plenty of time to pitch it and get a chance to review it somewhere. This is by Tim Burkhead, and it is Birds and Us, a 12,000-year history from cave art to conservation. Gigantic new bird book that Olive needs to review somewhere. so let's see. I don't have a press sheet for this, and I don't have any copy on the back except blurbs. But we do have a little summary on the inside here. Since the dawn of human history, birds have stirred our imagination, inspiring and challenging our ideas about science, faith, art, and philosophy. We have worshipped birds as gods, hunted them for sustenance, adorned ourselves with their feathers, studied their wings to engineer flight, and more recently attempted to protect them. In this book, the author takes us on a dazzling epic journey through our mutual history with birds, from the ibises mummified and deified by the ancient Egyptians to the Renaissance fascination with woodpecker anatomy, and from the Victorian obsession with egg collecting to today's fight to save endangered species and restore their habitats. Fantastic. It's a great big bird book. Just great. Fantastic. Looks to me like it's going to be heavily illustrated. I don't know how many of the illustrations that I'm seeing in this advanced copy will be in color in the finished copy. I probably won't get the finished copy for quite some time. Like, for instance, the inset here, I'm sure these will all be color. But though there are also illustrations scattered throughout the text, and I don't know if they will be or not. But I will certainly review this thing, guaranteed. Don't know where. Open Letters is always the likely bet. Open Letters, for those of you who are brand new to the channel, is an online literary journal where I am one of the editors, and where I have no paymasters. I have no censors, no boxes to check, no house style to adhere to, nothing like that. I can do whatever I want, whenever I want, however I want, and that's a great thing to have. It's a great thing to have that, and it's great when that avenue is not a blog. Open Letters is a review journal. It's got a masthead. It's got some cachet in the reviewing world. It's blurbed on many, many, many books. That's a nice thing to have that. Sometimes books come along, you just want to be sure that you can review them without wondering if you're going to have to jump through hoops. The freelancers out there will know what I mean. Nobody else probably will, but that's okay. I will find a venue for this, and I will get to work nagging Olive to review this as well. So, because she is my fellow reviewer here on BookTube. Actually, with a great number of the rest of you as well. And I'm working all the time to increase that number. If you have a local paper, not very local, if you live in the orbit of a major paper, unfortunately in America now there are only 3 truly A-list newspapers, right? There's the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, and Washington Post. Unfortunately, I say, because a country with 50 A-list newspapers is a much better country, a much stronger country. Unfortunately, there are only 3, but there's still a vast subculture of B-list newspapers, some of which are great, almost all of which have a few Pulitzers on the shelf. And if you live near one of those, and you've got a literary bent, I kind of want to see you appear in their pages. I kind of want to do that. No matter what it is, whether it's the Times-Picayune or the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette or the Tampa Sentinel or whatever, one way or another, I will find a venue to review this. Fortunately, in addition to Open Letters, I also have a venue of my own. As I mentioned, I am the book section editor in a print newspaper, in full color, beautiful print newspaper. It's small. I am probably I have a dedicated book section. It's not the art section. It's 2 full pages of books only. And I'm the editor of that section, and my editor-in-chief has given me completely free rein. I do not need to write about local titles. I do not need to throw a spotlight on local authors. I do not need to do any of the things that small newspapers tend to do. And they're totally legitimate in doing that. It's just I was allowed to implement my own vision, and my own vision is that there's no such thing as a local reader. So if you give me 2 full pages of beautiful color layout, if any of you have ever seen, it's Big Canoe News in northern Georgia. Any of you who have ever seen it will know it's a beautiful thing. Doesn't matter how small it is, but if you're going to give me 2 full pages in full color and a free hand, I'm going to create a miniature version of the book sections in those A-list newspapers. And then I'm going to make my section just as good as theirs, even though we have, a millionth of the budget. I'd like to think that I am on my way to doing that if I haven't done it already. But what was my point there? Oh, right. I was just going to say, in the ranks of book section editors, so paid print newspaper book section editors, very small niche to begin with in this country. But in those ranks, I probably have the smallest section and certainly the smallest distribution. But it doesn't matter. I'm still there. and that is a venue of my own. So I could review this thing for Big Canoe myself, or assign it. So one way or another, if you're a bird fan, you already know to pre-order this. And since it comes out in August, that you've got plenty of time to get on your library to make sure that they order a copy of this book or two. So there you go. We have Birds and Us. We have the finished copy of The Tobacco Wives. No idea. Did we actually cover whether or not this was a debut? I don't know that it is. It is. This is Adele Meyer's first book. Incredible. She currently works in advertising and lives in Brooklyn, New York with her husband, son, and their rescue dog, Chipper. And this is her first book. And unless I'm much mistaken, she's not going to be working in advertising very long. I have a suspicion that she has a career as a novelist in front of her. And then The War That Made the Roman Empire, Barry Strauss's latest book. Those of you who know Barry Strauss's work will know, he's a known quantity. You know you're going to like him. It's well done stuff. I moved those books just in time. So that's the mail for today. I have a feeling that more mail is coming, but and I don't quite know exactly how I feel about doing silly booktube videos when war has started in Europe. When people have started dying, refugees have started moving towards the borders. I know that on one level it's easy to look at it and say, well, this is a pretty dumb thing for you to do. But on the other level, it's purely human. I don't do this as a public performance. I do this because I like talking to you, and I needed it. I really needed it. So I'm going to indulge myself and make a few more videos today, and then depending on what the news is, maybe I'll have settled in and I won't quite indulge myself tomorrow. But anyway, that is the mail for today, and I'll wrap this up. But I have a few more videos I want to make, so I will see you soon. Thank you, BookTube.